Greetings, fellow armchair Imagineers. Tiki here.
And Blue Dragon 5.
Jacob Wild, too.
And Claude Kalinga.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we find ourselves on the cusp of Disney's big venture into the world of streaming, even courting a war in the process, we thought it'd be nice to stay up to date on the ever-growing catalog and roll on what's a must or a bust on Disney Plus. And tonight, we're playing a little catch-up with Monsters at Work. We're talking last week's episode. So thanks for the patience, everyone. I don't really expect this to get a lot of traction, especially because I wasn't really a fan of this episode at all. I think it's got a decent moral, but I mean, at this point, I kind of figure, like, if the moral of the show is just like, hey, Tyler's, he's not a very good jokester, but he's sure a good mipster. I feel like it's like, yeah, we kind of already know that. It's kind of the direction the show's been headed the whole time. So, it's like, it's a decent moral. It's not like a Monsters University moral by any means, but I don't know, man. And worst of all, this whole episode was painfully unfunny to me. With the exception of maybe 3 lines by Cutter that I laughed at because, Cutter is always good for a laugh. Everything about this episode just felt half-baked, and I don't know, it was cool to see the doors, but the doors aren't just gonna, I'm not just gonna get by just on ooh, look, a little crumb of Monsters Inc. real building. I thought the Mike's comedy class was really unfunny. Guys, I don't know. This one was it was a wet fart of an episode for me. I hate to say it, but
Was that, come on, what fart really that necessary? That's a little much.
No, it was almost as funny. It was as funny as the episode it was almost as funny as he claims the episode to be.
So in other words, it was wait for it, 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 wait for it. Mediocre.
All right. I mean that wasn't funny either, but okay.
Also, guys, I just gotta say, just with this show in general, I don't know. I feel like we could be doing better with episodes like this make me feel like, okay, I am watching a show for children, as opposed to I am watching a good family show that fans of the original can get really invested in, which is what I really want this show to be. But as it stands now, this is very much kind of it kind of feels like the worst of something like Big Hero 6, the series, where I'm kind of just watching it. I'm like, I don't even as a grown ass man, I don't know why I'm even watching it.
He saves from when we get to the episode that's literally involves children. He waits to make that comparison.
Right? It's literally in the title, Little Monsters.
Yeah.
I'm used to being the bad guy here, so it's fine. What do you all think?
Yeah, I'll tell you, I had a very opposite. It seemed I was going to share the same opinion, but then something changed. So I was a little concerned, a little worried about the the direction the episode was taking with the premise. But honestly, what really surprised me, it won me over in the end. It was kind of a celebration of the kind of the cute kid fare that we kind of have spent a little time with in the Monsters Inc. realm, mainly the first movie, and very much how the original Monsters Inc. kind of featured it. Whether it was between it's like we had the little school of monsters that Boo ran into, and Monsters Inc. kind of borrowed a little bit from that. I thought it was kind of nice. I don't know. I thought a lot of that was to the charm of the episode's favor. It was charm in the episode's favor. More accurately, I mean, it's just I felt we hit. I think we hit a serious concern with Tyler's arc. This episode is the fact of okay, well, we've hit him with the Monsters University thing of Dustman, you're not cut out to be a jokester. You're absolutely the quintessential scarer here, but we actually kind of shut him down in this episode right at the top with the opening. Hey, you're not funny. You keep blowing all these auditions. I can only give you so much. Nothing's really going to change here. You're our main character is in trouble. And I thought that was really an inspired way to start the episode, and we kind of hit a little bit of a I think we had a nice balance at the end. I think again, it won me over through the course of it. On the rewatch, I think it held up as well.
Right, Claude, what do you think?
Yeah, I like the episode as well. It's probably not the best episode of the season, but it's a pretty decent episode. Not as bad as what Tiki was saying before, but I thought Tyler was kind of funny episode, especially when
I love how you say my name with such disdain, Claude. I like the attitude. Keep it up. Honestly, I say that with earnestness.
Okay. Anyway, I like the part where Tyler was basically complaining to Val about the whole situation, and he goes on like this little rant, and then like the daughter hears it and is about to go tell.
That was a little bit.
Huh?
I
Yeah.
really like the animation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that guy. We're talking Spider-Man. Don't worry. We're just playing catch up first.
Yeah. And I like how Val almost curses as well.
Also, I like how that guy spelled Spider-Man. All right. Anyways,
Right.
yeah. You know what else this episode does not have in its favor? No Rose.
Sadly, how did we? It's been a while since we've had Rose. Now we had Rose in the. We had to have a little bit of Rose in the Adorable Snowman episode. It's only been like an episode, so you're
Oh
right.
yeah, we had to have some of her there.
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
speaking of which, he made a cameo this episode at the beginning. The abominable snowman with the snow cones.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, we did. Of course, man, I love the fact that we brought back the snow cone card. It's great. The original flavor snow.
So yeah, guys, I don't know. Excuse me for not being satisfied with the episode about children in the show that's made for children. I don't know what to say.
It just feels disingenuous, and you're making that point in the episode that features the kids. It just feels a little unfair. That's all
All
I'm
right,
saying.
I'm sorry, Jacob. I didn't get to your thesis yet. What do you think?
I thought it was decent. Again, not the best episode of the show so far, but I definitely thought it was. I think it's better than you're giving it credit for. I mean, most of the time we make our assessments after having let it sit for a bit, but you literally just finished watching it 5 seconds before we went live. So
You're absolutely not wrong. Way to call me out, Jacob. I love it.
That probably wasn't the best decision when you think about it.
Nope.
I know. It's like sometimes initial reactions. I mean, there's a knee-jerk thing kind of involved, so there's that. So
No,
it's
guys,
not-
honestly, like I'm
It's-
being
it's-
genuine when I say I'm liking you guys calling me out. Like I deserve it in this case. Like for all I know, this could play a lot better on rewatch.
Mhm.
But I mean, I'm not saying that it won't for some cases, and obviously everybody has a different opinion on that matter. But I mean, like I said, I thought it was an interesting take. Like it was already episode 8, and already they're calling Tyler out for like not doing any auditions this soon. Like, and that was just that was kind of interesting to see.
Mhm.
And I mean, and I was honestly in like kind of Dragon's Blood. I was like, oh great, it's gonna be like, oh great, the kids are gonna be too annoying, and it's gonna like be upstage the rest of it. It's just gonna be too annoying and stuff like that. But now I'm honestly surprised by like how grounded some of the kids were, and like how they got along well with the Mifters.
Yeah.
It's like they didn't dwell on the kids being too miserable, nor did it make them like too happy, and nor did they like ruin the experience for anyone else. Like they legitimately had fun with everybody, and I thought that was a nice change of pace from what we would usually see in these kinds of scenarios.
Yeah, let me tell you something I think was a really kind of charmed me on the rewatch, especially was the Mini Monsters Day itself, because it is in many respects a throwback to what inspired Mike in Monsters University. He was like on a class trip to Monsters Inc. and that inspired him to want to become a scarer. So I felt that was very. It was again. I absolutely believe that Mike Wazowski would really appreciate this, even though he wasn't really. It didn't really feature into the episode until the comedy class, if we're being honest. He was kind of there, and like when we're all laughing at Tyler with the donut stand on him, the coffee and donuts on him. But yeah, it was just sort of this. I don't know. I like the DNA of our franchise being in this episode and just kind of seeing, yeah, we are trying to inspire the next generation to do something nice here. And it was kind of like a delightful way to educate the kids. Like everyone is assigned a little department. Like Celia's gabbing it up with like, and I get to be the floor supervisor. I just get to tell people what to do.
Yeah.
All right, that guy says I'm with Tiki. I never watched the episode, but that purple monster with the bad eyebrows is hiding something. I will not let him win.
Technically, the purple monster is a girl.
Yeah, well, yeah, but
Yeah. I like the
Okay.
monster that worked with Duncan.
Oscar, yes.
Yeah, Oscar,
Oh,
that
boy,
was
Oscar.
funny.
You know my favorite part about Oscar is, I don't know if you guys noticed this. I love it. The half-lidded, dazed expression is what kills me about Oscar.
Trying to
See,
do-
Dragon, you just brought up like I really do need to watch the episode again because like my initial reaction to all this stuff is like, okay, like these are decent ideas, but I don't really feel like any of them particularly are all that fleshed out. Like with the Duncan and Oscar thing, I feel like we could have gotten a little bit more of that.
But how much more did you really want, though? I mean,
I don't know. Like I feel like it could have been a good.
I think
B
we all
plot.
hit. I think they all hit their marks rather well. Like we gave them all a nice bit, and the main focus is Miss Flint's kid. I think that's pretty straightforward.
I mean, can we just talk about like how the kid like pulled the contract stick on Duncan as well?
Yeah.
And Duncan's like, I like you, kid.
That was a great
All right.
Duncan moment. I will absolutely sign off on that. I like the contract.
That was a great moment.
Fritz is out where he's outworn his welcome for me on this show.
Are
I
you? No, not Fritz. No, he did the Fonzarelli thing. He did like the
we
Fitzarelli
talked
touch.
about this last episode. I think if he actually retired last episode and they kept that permanent, I think that would have been really impactful.
Well, that was 2 episodes ago, but
Okay, well, yeah, but as it stands now, I really just feel like, first of all, we still have the thing like with Duncan and the contract and everything like that. That's fine. It's a good joke. I don't think I liked it as much as you guys did, but I am just sick of the whole like, yeah, you're angling for Fritz's job, aren't you? It's just like I don't know. It's just like I feel like. I'm sorry, guys. I'm kind of like having a monologue here, but I feel like with all these characters, they haven't really evolved past their one joke. Like even Cutter, the only reason why I'm invested in Cutter more than the others at this point is because I just think the delivery with her is spot on. The writing is pretty spot on, but even she's repetitive. I mean, I don't know. And just Fritz he just annoys me at this point. He just annoys me. I feel like he's stuck around too long. I don't know. I'm sorry, guys.
well, how does that translate to annoying you, though? I mean, you
The
liked him
tie
before.
thing, just the over enthusiasm. He's just generally a character that for me is just kind of like written to be annoying almost.
Wait, is it Henry Winkler's performance as well?
It could be, honestly. I usually like Henry Winkler, but I'm not like
You were
I don't
blowing
know.
about Fritz episodes ago. I don't understand how this translates. I mean, I get you wanted him to, again, he could have been written out, sure, but it's like I still like having.
I'm just
Fritz
saying I
around.
don't really like understand. I don't know, man. Honestly, I feel a bit burned out by this show in general, if I'm being completely honest.
I mean, with the ups and downs with certain episodes, I mean, I can get
Guys,
that. Sure.
I mean, honestly, I've never shied away from my thoughts on this kind of stuff, and that's honestly one of the things that I kind of pride myself on with this channel. And we just did that Bob Chapek podcast. Well, Evan and I did, and that's one of my favorite podcasts that I've done in a while. So, I'm not going to hold back when something just isn't working for me. So, I'm like, by all means, guys, I want you. I'm not trying to say don't enjoy the episode, don't enjoy the show, but I don't know. It's like for me, it's getting to the point where, for me, I almost question kind of like, is it even worth when season 2 of this show comes around? Is it even worth doing these podcasts like on an episode to episode basis? Just because I really like these episodes, to me, just really don't have a lot of meat on their bones.
Well, if season 2 brings us to like post, Monsters Inc. territory, then I imagine it would be a must because you got to know, are we going to see Boo?
I
again?
mean, sure, Dragon, but like what I like I said with the door thing, I just feel like we're just kind of getting like a drip feed of, like, oh, there's a tiny bit of lore. Anyways, guys, I'm gonna stop hogging the screen time. By all means, please. I don't want to be like the like I said, I'm just kind of telling it like it is for me. From my perspective. So, I'm totally like, I'm not like trying to poo-poo if you guys like it at all.
Right. So, I love, I really like Miss Flint. I love her daughter with, Talia. Which, fun fact, Bob's Ganaway and his daughter, they are in this episode. Bob's Ganaway, apparently, I had no idea about this. He voices the reception guy, with like Otis, the guy with all the peanut shaped guy with all the arms. That's the showrunner, and his daughter voiced Hatley voiced Talia. So it was really cute.
Yeah, I mean, like Claude said, I think probably the funniest gag in the episode was just the slow pursuit at the end there. Just I don't know, I just got a kick out of the animation on her. She's just like very slowly marching towards her mom's office. Like I don't know, I thought that was a fun sight gag.
That was.
Now here's the thing. So again, I feared a by the numbers plot with Tyler's scheme here, which is very standard, very much
Uh-huh.
like, okay, I'm gonna win over the boss's kid. I'm gonna win over so I can impress her and I get another shot and get another chance here. She put in a good word for me. All that sort of. Then we demonstrate this with a kind of a Mean Joe Green fantasy almost. Which is pretty funny, and yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I love that we actually impressed Talia for a bit there with the door vault chase. Which I mean, look, I'm always a built-in sucker for the door vault chase, but you know what? It was a well-animated sequence. Like the chase itself, and just like with using like the door tram things. I mean, that's really cool. We got to see the Mifters in action, and we're continuing to cement. And I think in this,
I did like how the kids were geeking out about the Mifters towards the end. That was fun. That was a nice change of pace.
See, I felt that was kind of earned when we have like a really cool sequence that is facilitating Tyler's arc in a nice way. Now, you're right, we are kind of getting a little repetitive with it, but I think in the episode itself, I think we hit it nicely here. I think we are seeing it after these episodes that Tyler, at this point, I'm rooting for him to be a jokester, but I think it's very clear he's more apt for miffed work than he is joking, and we've seen that. But by the same token, he did get a laugh with the donut cart thing. Every monster has a different comedic shtick.
Mm-hmm.
Like look at the one with the jacks, like Mr. Phlegm. I think the Phlegm guy, with the acid. He falls on the jacks and everything. Tyler I think he can only be a physical comedian because his jokes are terrible. He can only be like a prop comic.
Okay, well, speaking of which, Claude was kind of in the waiting room for this when I was watching the episode, and when we got to him, like literally stumbling into the silly costume, I gave a verbal, "Are you kidding me?"
Oh yeah, I heard that.
Just because I don't know, I just like by all means they didn't, basically what I thought they were gonna do is like, oh, he's funny now. Look, now he can be a jokester. Now he's making it. And they didn't do that, thank God. But
I like that the possibility is like it's not completely like obvious. Like, why is he not realizing that he does somewhat have a shot? He just needs to find out what his vein of comedy is. It's like it's like I like that both possibilities are still kind of entertained to be open. I mean, we'll see where it goes.
yeah, I just think that by all means, I am not on the edge of my seat for it.
Well, I mean, sure. I'm just saying though, we're going to have to get to a finale. I am interested to see. I wonder if we're gonna solve this by the end of the first season or not. So, Jacob, anything you want to point us to?
I mean, nothing I have to add right now. I mean, like I said, I think it was a nice change of pace from like the usual kind of plots we get from this kind of scenario of impressing the kids kind of thing. Like it's like, oh, having the boss over, or have to entertain the boss's kids, stuff like that. I mean, like I thought it was a nice kind of change of pace from that.
Yeah. Just one of the kids I wanted to highlight, Fritz and Gertie, I thought was so darn precious. Just the idea of the very chatty Fritz with the very shy Gertie, I thought was adorable. Like the kind of a monster of his similar kind of design, just like all kind of sad and lonely. It was really adorable.
So I already kind of mentioned it, but I really wasn't a fan of the comedy class this week. I don't know.
I'm with you. I am with you on that for the most
Good.
part. I mean,
Good.
on the rewatch, I softened to it, but on the first watch, it was very daunting.
I was just like, okay, this is literally just like Billy Crystal just doing a bit, and it's not really working. I mean, I love Billy Crystal. You know me. It's like he's like, by all means, I think him just being in it, in a semi-regular role has been like one of the highlights of the series. But I don't know. Here I was just like, can Mike be any more, non-self-aware?
Yeah, I'm sorry, Claudia, go on.
No, you can go. It's fine.
All right. Yeah. So basically, yeah, the comic class, it kind of dawned on me, and I was kind of at a horrifying realization of, oh no, this is the first comedy class that isn't landing. where it was just, what bothered me about it in my core is like, oh my god, we have Sully in the comedy class, and we're doing, me, I'm a huge fan of Abbott Costello and the old comedy duos and the dynamics, the straight man, the comedian. I was like, oh my god, this is gonna be great with our subject, and then it was like, I mean, on the rewatch, I mean, it is clever, but it's not really ha ha funny. It's not even like, like really, it's.
A realization that I had that, like, when I say it, you guys are not going to be able to unsee it, except unless you've realized it already.
What?
It is pretty damn obvious to me that they had way more time with Billy Crystal than they did with John Goodman.
I don't know how much of that's the writing, though. I don't know how much.
I'm pretty sure it's mostly. I just think Sully is just weirdly. There are a lot of scenes of Sully just like, if you think about it and you go back, there's just a lot of scenes of Sully just kind of like awkwardly standing around, and this episode is really like not an exception to that.
Well, again, the comedy class is not the best example for that, Tegan.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, just in general. I mean, he really hasn't had much of a presence in the show at all, which, like, I mean, given how big of a fan favorite Pixar character he is, it just feels a little off. I don't know.
I mean, I gotta see where we are with him at the end of the season. That's where I stand.
I'm just saying, like compared to Mike, like he really doesn't have much of an arc, much of a presence at all. Jacob, Claude, how are you guys feeling about Sully?
Yeah, no, I noticed that too. Like Billy Crystal gets most of the lines between the two. And he says stuff every now and then, but barely. It's mostly Mike, less Sully in the series.
Yep.
But I mean, like I said, it's I'm like pretty sure it's a scheduling thing.
With the exception of the third episode, I mean, I think even the little that we've gotten with Sully has been really kind of really good. I mean, really Sully, and the whole unbanishing the abominable snowman, and like, responding to the inspector who's come to the Monster University.
I'm not saying it hasn't been good. I'm just saying there's not a lot of it.
But I'm saying maybe less is more. So I don't know. That's why it hasn't dawned on me, and why I'm not quite calling that out yet.
Sure,
I mean,
sure.
If we continue this for, like, if we do get a second season, this goes on, then I'm absolutely, oh my god, he's absolutely right. We don't have enough time with John Goodman. I mean, especially if we're in. Can you imagine how crazy this would be if we actually get into the kind of the post Monsters Inc. with a season 2 and we don't have a lot of John Goodman? There's going to be a big problem.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
I mean, this is the first time he's worked with them in this capacity. I mean, he technically wasn't even in the first season of Emperor's New School, but they did bring him back for the second one.
That's true. That's a good point.
Oh yeah, that is true. Yeah.
But he did show up there, so who knows exactly what's going on here? Maybe they just can't find some way to use him in a way that they can with Mike.
Or like Dragon said, I mean, for all we know, maybe they're like holding their cards for a big Boo season 2. I mean, Boo is like what we all want to see, right?
No.
No?
I mean, Boo's story, as far as I'm concerned, is done.
You know what, Jacob? I actually really I respect that. I respect that stance.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let me be clear. I'm saying I agree with Jacob in that we don't need to see.
Yeah, I agree. But I just think that it's like, if we do continue the story, I am going to be at the very least curious.
I'm just really interested if we do go post Monsters Inc. with a season 2, which, I mean, I wonder. My thought is that if we keep the show going, what if each season it wasn't like, maybe we don't do Miffed for a second season? What if we did a different department?
Oh, it's like The Wire?
I mean, sure, if that helps, yes. Well, you know what I mean? Like, it's so long as they're at work, I mean, for all we know.
I like that, yeah.
I mean, even so, I mean, technically, with the built-up cloud of, like, if we just follow a different character but also check in with our guys, or, I mean, the obvious way to go, I mean, it's just, well, we focus on our guys now. We've kind of built them in the background. We can get away with them maybe in the forefront. Well, I don't know, but I'm just saying, it's the possibilities really intrigue me for season 2. But again, if we're post Monsters Inc., we got to address the Boo thing, even if we don't see her. We got to mention, like, is Sully seeing her beyond the thing or what? Like Are we going to mention the passage of time or anything? Are we ever going to get into those issues of Boo, which
I
are not?
would be surprised if we had a time jump and kind of like, because I keep bringing it up, but Channel Awesome, they did do it. I know Channel Awesome's name is tainted, but they did do a relatively interesting like pitch for a Monsters Inc. sequel that's like 20 years in the future, and Boo is like a child psychologist and all that. And I don't know. I think that'd be an interesting way to go about it too.
Well, again, we got to get a season 2 first before we even think about any of that. So,
20-year time jump or nothing.
All right. So one thing I want to note, one more thing I think I got to cover with the episode. With our resolution, which again did win me over. It occurs to me that Tyler's ability to be straight with people and own his responsibility after he stumbles in the episode, which has kind of been the pattern so far. I think has been his best character trait. I think it's kind of won him over in a lot of people's eyes. And I mean, I've heard from people who watch the show, but also the characters within the show seems to be kind of the winning element of the character. And I think it goes a long way with Talia, because there's a very Monsters Inc. The first one especially has been very they really got kind of the adult child relationship down, between Sully and Boo, and they kind of capture that so well. And what we did here is another truth of kind of the relationship between adults and children, is that children love to be treated like an equal. They love to get like cut through, like you talk to them like a person instead of like a lower being than yourself. That's always been kind of like a winning thing with kind of dynamics. I'm not saying it's perfect. I'm not saying it always goes well. I'm saying for more often than not, it's what kids want to hear. I think we represented that well. Like, she had that great bit where that won her over with with the whole story is like, hey, you're not the first to try this. Like when she said that lifted like a weight off the episode for me. Like, you're not the first to try. Like, she's been around the block. She knows about this plot line. She didn't completely fall for it. It's great.
Uh-huh.
We didn't completely stumble into the obvious stuff. That was nice.
Right. Anything else, guys? I think this episode is pretty damn straightforward.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
All right. Okay, well, guys, at the top of the hour, we will be going live with a Spider-Man No Way Home trailer breakdown, so be sure to stay tuned for that. And in the meantime...
Wait, what's the next episode? Do you know?
Oh, I don't know. Do you guys know?
It's Bad Hair Day, isn't it, Jacob?
Yeah,
That one.
Yep, it's Bad Hair Day.
There we go.
Is it a Celia-focused episode?
I mean, it's a 50-50 shot. As far as I see it, I'm seeing it as either Celia, which would be great, but also, I mean, Sully. This would be the ultimate Sully.
Yeah, Sully. I kind of hoping it's Sully. Yeah.
I mean, I pity those animators, because you know how difficult it is to animate
I just
Sully's
love
hair.
the idea of Celia's hair being in a bad mood.
Well, remember, we had that gag where it's just this interesting Medusa question of, hey, do we... hey, she was... I was thinking about getting my hair cut, and the snakes were panicking. So no, I like your hair this length. It's like a question of like, what happens if they do? If it like goes really long?
Right.
I mean, does it look like a snake? You cut it off and it like just grows.
It is kind of like one of those like world building things in the Monsters Inc. lore that we're kind of curious about, right?
Yeah. Because I mean, originally when they were conceptualizing things, they thought going the full Medusa. Like, she had ex-boyfriends who returned the stone, which is why Mike was a little nervous in the movie, but they cut that out, thankfully.
All right. Well, that'll be fun.
Yeah.
All right, well, that'll do it for us this week as we holster our remotes till the next installment calls for the draw. Mano y mano. Just Plus and Us.
Fitzarelli touch.